law of attraction is a central philosophy within the spiritual mainstream. But I would like to take an alternative viewpoint. I'd like to look also at how the shadow subconscious side draws within the law of attraction and creates in our lives so that we can unravel it, unpack it, realign it, and so create more authentically, even from what we would consider the negative side. So we're unraveling that and we're realigning it and then creating from that too. So I'd like to take a look at that. Firstly, what is the law of attraction? We're living in a space-time continuum where everything is energy and everything is interconnected. It's all flowing together. And when you create an anchor within that space-time continuum, then it bends around that anchor and reflects back to you what you're being within it. It's like the space-time continuum is a universal mirror of beingness. And so it's going to reflect two aspects. It's going to reflect the aligned, soul, authentic side of yourself and create from that place, but it's also going to reflect the subconscious karmic aspect, which we haven't processed and integrated yet. So it will also draw that. It's like it will draw derailing experiences to reflect back the disharmony. On the positive side, what we might call the positive side, then what you're going to see are reflections of your authentic aligned self, what you might call your higher self. And you're seeing resonances that you may like, you may appreciate, you may feel, yes, that's something I can resonate with and would like to embody myself. And the reason you can appreciate it in somebody else is because you have that resonance. You wouldn't be able to see it and appreciate it otherwise. And so you're drawing that reflection with an invitation, an opportunity to embody that. And as you do embody it, let's say, for example, the Ray One masculine warrior energy, or the divine feminine of surrender. So when you draw that, there's an invitation to embody it. And as you do, you're going to create more completely, more authentically, in a very holistic way. And so the environment around you and your relationships and how you live and work is going to be more harmonious. And of course, this is what's been realized in the law of attraction philosophy. And so often what comes with that is an intentioning to put out the reflection that you would like so as to get the result you would want. But really, this is all based on ego. It comes from poverty consciousness. Sounds paradoxical, but indeed it is, because it means that a part of you is not embracing, not ready or willing to embrace what you're already creating. Let's be clear. When you create something that is disharmonious in your environment, the first question to ask is, why did I manifest it? Why did I create it? Because you create everything, you draw everything to you as this reflection. And if you simply try to override that and suppress it by coming forth with a more favorable intention, if you try to suppress that and drop it like the proverbial hot coals, then all you're doing is suppressing an aspect of yourself, and fragments of soul that might be buried in that subconscious side, and that's going to come active at some point. Really, what I think is happening when people do this is it's like they're popping out of this 3D reality for a moment or two and connecting with a 4D bubble. The 4D bubble can shape at that level, yes, but you are disconnected from the higher dimensional flow, the 5D flow, for example, which is really beginning to unravel the reality we're living in. And so the risk is you're disconnecting from the 5D flow, going into a disconnected, disassociated bubble in the 4D, denying the subconscious. And so ultimately, as the shift unravels this reality, it's going to derail you in a pretty spectacular way. All of this intentioning a better reality that people have created is going to burst some point down the road, and probably pretty soon. So the intentioning side of this is self-defeating ultimately, especially within the 5D shift. So how should we best then deal with processing the shadow side? Well, the first thing is to recognize and accept and embrace everything that comes my way, everything that I shape, even if that is unpleasant, apparently unpleasant, disharmonious, triggers inside. Somebody does something in my outer environment. The first thing to realize is they are not doing something to you. That's the most essential thing to embrace. Something unpleasant has happened, somebody is doing something, you've attracted them into your life, but they are not doing it to you. Your subconscious projected out into this hologram that we're living in and brought them to you, it drew and manifested that situation to reflect something about what you're not embodying yourself or what you haven't processed yourself. And so the shadow side does that too. And you may see something you don't like, but what you're doing is projecting a filter onto that situation or onto that person, and you're seeing them through your own filter. That is the challenge, and that is the opportunity. What is it that I'm impacted by? What's triggering in me? What is it that I don't like? Maybe I'm not having sufficient confidence to embody what they're embodying, and so I'm attacking the messenger. I'm attacking the mirror because I'm not embodying that myself. Or maybe a character like that in my past, let's say for example a paternal patriarch figure, has done something in my past, if you like, I handed over sovereignty. Now this is a big thing. Consider, for example, all of the billions of people who followed some kind of religion throughout human history, and how many of those religions have been led by some patriarchal figure. And so how people have handed over their power and been in some way, shape or form controlled by that religion or by that figure, and now have that karma in their field. And so that karma is going to manifest, it's going to create outwards. It's going to create situations that reveal or animate that unconsciousness that animate that reflection of disempowerment, for example. And when that happens, it's really important to work into the density, work into the tightness and the disempowerment, and soften that. Instead of projecting it outwards, is to let it animate in your field, but then look at it, at what it is I think I need from that person. What can I embody in myself, and what resentment might I let go of, or what karma might I let go of, unravel and unwind? Might be in your own father. It might come through in that way, for example. Or it might be in a strong-willed mother who's also embodying the patriarch energy. It doesn't have to be male, female. So we're going to draw these reflections, and the essential thing is to work into them, is to own them, embody them, unravel them, and then we can integrate the aligned paternal energy for ourselves. And now we're looking out into the world, and we're seeing positive reflections of that energy that stimulates, activates that in ourselves. And so right now, of course, and it's very welcome, it's very necessary, people are reclaiming that sovereignty and empowering that patriarchal energy, as well as others, like the matriarch as well. They're embodying the patriarch energy inside of themselves. But until that has been accomplished, the risk is that we might look into the outer and attack that figure because of the perception of what some kind of patriarch has done to us in the past, bearing in mind that that's not actually happened. What's happened is a co-creation where the subconscious has projected out disempowerment and handed over sovereignty. And the invitation is to say, who are you in all of this? How can you embody that energy for yourself and not hand over that power? And so we might manifest in our outer environment another reflection now of that energy. And the energy is saying, well, okay, that's what I feel in relation to that person, but it's triggering me inside. And here's the crucial point. If it's triggering something in you, and you can feel it and see it and sense it within, then you have manifested it, you have created it, and now is the invitation to work with that trigger. What is it I think I need, want, or can't live without or do without that I'm seeing in that mirror? And then to realize that actually I can embody that energy. I can embody the patriarch energy of trust, of solidity, of faith, of compassion, of strength. I can embody that inside of myself and peel off the distortion of limitation. And now I don't have to judge or project at the person in the outer environment. I embody it myself, and now what I find is those karmic filters dissolve. And when I see somebody who's embodying that kind of energy, I can be more authentic with them. I don't project onto them, I don't need them, they don't have to be a part of my reality, but I can engage with them on a one-to-one basis. And I've released any rejection or any resentment that I might have of that person. I can now engage in an embodied, one-on-one, authentic, empowered way. So this is how I might use a mirror that triggers reaction, shadow side, and now I'm projecting outwards more authentically, more harmoniously, and so I'll create the mirror of my authentic beingness more and more. So it's utterly essential to own the triggers and what we might call the shadow subconscious reflections too. It's important to own those that I create in my outer environment. And above all, to ask the question, why did I manifest it? Why did I draw it to me? Why did I create it? That becomes the most empowering question you can possibly ask, because in that moment, rather than pointing the finger and projecting blame, I take ownership myself. And in that moment, I am empowered because I can look inwardly for the triggers that have fired off that mirror in the outer. I can look for the triggers, I can work into them, I can work with them using something that at Openhand we call the breakthrough approach. Honoring, expressing, looking at my attachment, releasing it, letting it go. In which case I now integrate that buried fragment of soul gold. It integrates into the mainstream of my soul, and now I come forwards with a new gift, a new aspect of beingness. And so this is how I can use the mirror of the space-time continuum. This is how I can use effectively the law of attraction by embracing everything, literally everything that shows up. And finally, when you have integrated, you may see people still embodying those kinds of energies, still being, controlling or trying to be controlling, say for example, a controlling patriarch figure. You may still see those in your outer environment, but they don't hit you. They're not impacting you internally, and so therefore, it's not your reflection. It's not for you to then work with. You can move on. You can move on and you'll create other things. And so you may see people like that around you. We are in one reality together at this time. You may see that, but it's like it doesn't impact you anymore. You're able to flow through it. And so you're able to be authentic within it. And so you'll now create new mirrors, new patterns, to reveal more of who you really are and to let go of more of the shadow side. To me, this is how the law of attraction truly works and how you can best work with it to illuminate an authentic pathway forwards. I wish you well in that. Namaste.